cultivating seeds that are in the ground to rise and wear their special crown. Different colors in the big bouquet make our beautiful day. Love lives inside, grows deep and wide, no way to hide. Love lives inside. Love lives inside. Love lives inside. Love lives inside.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. We do have some wonderful musicians here in Austin, for which I'm always very grateful. Well, I'm very grateful to be here today. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is David Old, and I'm a ministerial student at Unity Village right now. I'm almost finished. You know, we've been talking about dreams. And I'm going to be sort of recapping some of those. It's been this will be the seventh part of this series on dreams. And so I'll be sort of reviewing some of the things that Tony covered in this series. But you know, this whole ministerial journey for me has been a dream that has come true. It's been a dream that I've seen out there, and I've avoided it. I mean, it scared me. It did. It scared me. I know I was called to go into ministry from the time I was 9 years old. I swear. And it has been this calling that has been in the back of my head all of this time. And I kept on saying, not yet, not yet. I'm not good enough. I mean, me? You want me to do this? And we have these dreams, and sometimes they scare us. But I want you to know that there's no reason to be scared, because God is with you, and God is giving you that dream. That dream, that desire comes from God. And I know that desire for me to be a minister came from God. And no matter how much I put it off, it was still there until finally I got to the point where I said, I can't put this off any longer. It's interesting. So I say yes to my dream, and then you say yes to your dream, and then you start planning out things the way you think things should go. Have you ever done that? You've heard the old saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Okay? So I made the decision to follow my dreams and to go to ministerial school. And everything came together. I mean, everything came together. And I was able to go. The finances fell into place. And this was in 2008 when I started this. I decided it was time to go to ministerial school, and I went. And everything fell into place. And so in 2008, the fall of 2008, I go up to ministerial school up in Unity Village. I have to go through 2 application processes, one for the Institute to get my Master's of Divinity, and then one through what at that time was the Association of Unity Churches, and is now Unity Worldwide Ministries, where you have to go through their application process because they are the ones that will ordain you. So I went through both of those processes, and I was accepted in both of them. So everything went so beautifully. And then 3 semesters later, my wife has to have surgery. She has to have back surgery. And it was a complicated back surgery. And so I decide that I have to go back home to be with my wife, who is going to be going through at least 6 months of recovery. So I do that. And when I'm leaving, I'm depressed that here I am leaving, and I'm not sure how long it's going to be that I'm going to be having to be away. And so I go, and I'm driving, back to Austin. It's a 12-hour drive, by the way. So I'm driving back to Austin, and I get this message. I mean, it's just a real clear message that when I get here to help my wife out with her surgery and her recovery, that I am to call the CPE, or it's the chaplaincy program that Seton Hospital has, where they train hospital chaplains. I got the message that I was supposed to call them, and so and to check into that. So I get here on a Wednesday morning. I drove all night, so I get back on Wednesday, and I call up at Seton about their CPE program, and they tell me, yeah, they have one that's opening, and they have an opening, but I needed to get my application in really fast, okay, because they were going to be starting up pretty soon. And so I go online and look at this application, and it's huge. I mean, it's a huge application, and all these essay questions and everything. So I look at it, and the more I look at it, I realize I've answered all those questions. I mean, yeah, I had answered those questions either in the application for the Institute, or I had answered those questions in the application to the Association of Unity Churches. And so I sit down at my computer, and I cut and paste and fill in all of these questions, okay? And so I think it was either about midnight Wednesday or early Thursday morning, I send that application out to them. And Friday, they call me and say, come in, we want to interview you. So, okay, so I go in, so they had me come in Monday, all right? So remember, I arrived on a Wednesday, so Monday, I'm going in for an application, and they said, well, we have other applications, we'll let you know. After I had the interview, I felt good about the interview, but we'll let you know. That's always a little disconcerting. And so I go back home, and the next morning they call me, and I'm in the program. I mean, that was, to me, a total God thing, okay? Now, here's the reason. One of the reasons it was a God thing is it was a paid position, okay? When you are doing a 1-year hospital chaplaincy program, it is a paid position. So I had some wonderful training where I went in 5 days a week for a year, had classes in the morning, and then went in the afternoon and went and worked at the hospitals as a chaplain, as a hospital chaplain. So, I mean, this was such a, I couldn't get that in seminary. I really couldn't. That type of training, that was wonderful training, and they require you to do like a 1 semester of that at the school, in seminary. So I got a whole year of that while I was helping my wife. Go through her recovery and everything. So that was such a blessing to me. Such a blessing to me. And then my wife ended up, do you sometimes think God has sort of a sense of humor and sort of a warped one at times? I mean, so all of this happens, and then she's getting better, and then she has to have a second operation. And so I finally decide, this is what I'm going to do. Well, I had planned to go through licensing in the field originally anyway. Okay, that's where you can go and work in a church, and you can become a licensed Unity teacher, and it's another way of becoming a Unity minister. And so I had originally sort of planned on doing that. And so I thought, well, I'll just go back and that's what I'll do. So I started going back and I got all of my work done, every bit of it, did my leadership and everything. And then my wife asked me for a divorce. Okay. Like I said, God has a sense of humor. And anyway, so as soon as we decided, we had talked about this whole me going into ministry had been a real hard, it was just really hard for her. She didn't want to be a minister's wife. When I first met my wife, I said, I discovered Unity in 1983 and met my wife in Unity. And I told her right then and there, as soon as I met Unity, I said, I've had a calling to go to ministry. And she looked at my eyes and she said, I have no interest in being a minister's wife. That's what she told me. And I thought, well, maybe she'll change her mind. And so, 29 years later, she hadn't changed her mind. But I was kept on pursuing it. And she finally just said, David, it's time, you're right. We should get a divorce. I really believe this is what is best for us. And I had known that for some time because I had this calling to go into ministry, and I knew there was no way I could put it off any longer. So as soon as we made a decision, and we still have a wonderful relationship. It was something that we came to a decision on, and we knew it was the right thing, and the whole divorce we did our own paperwork. It was very amiable. It really was. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful to still have that loving relationship with my ex-wife. I really am. So I immediately call up to Unity Institute and say, I want to be back in the program. So that was easy to get into, but then I had to reapply because I had dropped out. I had to reapply for the Unity Worldwide Ministries for their ministerial path. So I said, oh well, I've already been accepted in that. Everything's a shoe-in. I'm fine. And I go up there, I get in classes, and I go through the ministerial, go through all of their interviews and everything again. And they call me in, and they say, we're sorry, but we're redirecting you. Now, what redirection is that they're saying, well, there's some things you need to work on before, that the ministerial, Unity Worldwide Ministries, they want to make sure that the ministers that come in there are well trained, they're in the right frame of mind, they're not running away from something. For the longest time, if you had even gone through any life-changing situation, like a divorce or a death in the family, for a full year, if you had, they told you do not apply. Okay, they're not just going to let you in because you need to process all of that. Well, I'd only been divorced for 4 months. I don't think they thought that was long enough for me to process. So I get redirected, and then I have to go back, and I have to go through the whole process again. Okay, I have to go through the application process for Unity Worldwide Ministries, and well, this is what happened. So I'm getting this news that I've been redirected, okay? And I consider myself a very centered person, okay? I am. I can go through all sorts of stuff and just really be centered. But when they told me that I was being redirected, and I thought, I've got to pay for all of this again, I've got to fill out all this paperwork again, it totally shocked me. And so the interviewers that were letting me know this, I argued with them. I said, why are you doing this? You've already accepted me once, and why don't you just tell me what I need to do, and I'll do it. But I really don't want to pay all of this, and it's not cheap, to go through this. So I'm essentially arguing with them, because I completely fell out of center. I just completely fell out of it. And so all of a sudden, one of the people that were interviewing me, I can't remember her name right offhand, but she said, but David, remember, God is your source. And that was like a slap in my face. That brought me directly back to center because God is my source. I didn't have to worry about the money or anything else. I mean, I immediately fell into that consciousness was I didn't have enough, you know? I didn't have the money saved up to do this whole process again. But she reminded me that God is my source. And that brought me immediately to center. And I was able to walk out of that interview knowing that everything would be taken care of. 2 weeks later, we have our convention. And one of my friends who had gone to ministerial school back in 2008 and 2009, we had been students together. He's now the senior minister of Unity of San Francisco. So he comes over to me and he says, David, I have something to tell you. He said, the board and Unity of San Francisco has decided to offer some financial support to a ministerial student, and we've chosen you. Okay. There was all the money that I needed for the application and everything. It was there. God provided. So I just wanted to share that story with you because our dreams are so important. And if we hold on to those dreams, we will persevere. We will bring those dreams into fruition. So I'm going to be graduating next year. At the end of this year, I'll have all of my schoolwork done. Next year, in the winter, I'll be doing an internship in San Francisco. And then I'm going to be doing another one in the spring in Warren, Michigan, right outside of Detroit. Renaissance Unity, right, Renaissance Unity, which is one of our mega Unity churches, that is being, right now, that it has under the leadership of a very dynamic black minister by the name of Jim Lee. And I am looking so forward to being able to do an internship with him and to learn from him. So I feel extremely, extremely blessed. And so I just wanted to just, you know, offer that story to you. And so we have been talking about dreams and how that everything in this outer world we know, it starts with an idea. It starts with a thought. And no matter what you look at out here, no matter what you look at, this microphone, this platform here, it all started with a thought. Everything you see, the chair, it was in someone's mind first. And that's the way, whatever it is that we feel in our hearts that can be, it can be. If we will just put our hearts into it. If we will allow Spirit to guide us. What I liked about this whole program, this whole series of talks on dreams, is it gave us a chance to look at our Unity principles. And principles are nothing more than spiritual laws. They are just like a mathematical law of 1 + 1 = 2. Spiritual laws, principles, they are true regardless. And so we look at these principles, and we have 5 Unity principles that most of our Unity churches subscribe to. And I can't think of a single talk I've ever given that did not have one of these 5 Unity principles, at least one of them, as the basis. So our first Unity principle is that there's only one power. and one presence in the universe, in my life. That's God. God, the good, omnipotent. And if there is, and that's our first principle. There's only one presence and one power. And we are connected to that one presence and one power. In fact, our second unity principle says that we are made in the image and likeness of God. We are spiritual beings. We are creators just like God is a creator, just like Spirit is a creator. They say that we have a spark of divinity with each and every one of us. And as a unity minister, my job, I believe, is to help you recognize and remind myself also that we, each and every one of us, has that spark of divinity within us. God, our Spirit that is present everywhere, is completely and totally with us right now. And because Spirit is present to us right now, everything that we need, all the wisdom, all the guidance, all the peace, all the love, whatever we need, it's right here. And it's within us. And we can call upon it at any time. But what happens is we forget that. We get so involved in the world and we listen to everything that's going on in the world around us, and we get sort of sucked into the mindset, that collective consciousness that is going on out there. And that collective consciousness, for the most part, is telling us we're all separate. And that is the illusion. We are not separate. We are each and every one connected, totally, completely connected. We are one not only with Spirit, but we are one with each other. So if we are just willing, Spirit will direct us. Spirit will guide us. The tools that we need, which is one of our other principles, of our 5 principles, is that prayer and meditation, these are the 2 tools that we can use, that we need to use. And you need to remember that Unity began as a prayer and healing ministry. All right? Myrtle Fillmore was sick with tuberculosis, and she had done everything, gone to all the doctors and everything, and she had given up. She hadn't given up hope. She was searching for something. She was wanting to be well. She wanted to be healed. And she and Charles went out to a speaker by the name of E.B. Weeks. And in his talk, he said that as a child of God, you do not inherit illness. And that one statement was something that completely and totally just lit her life up. She grabbed hold of that. She saw the truth in that as a child of God, we do not inherit illness. And so for 2 years, she kept that as her prayer, as her meditation. She meditated on those thoughts that as a child of God, she did not inherit illness. And in 2 years, she was completely healed. Now, I remind you that back then, tuberculosis was something that killed people. Okay, there was really no cure. And so she found herself completely and totally healed, and then she went about doing her work and teaching other people these truths and praying with other people. And as a result of this, we have what we call now silent unity, which is the oldest telephone prayer. It used to be just with letters and everything, but this silent unity is still the biggest part of our unity movement, where people can call, and you can call up at Silent Unity 24 hours a day, and there will be someone that will pray for you. There will be someone that will pray with you. They are there to completely and totally just hold you in prayer. All of our prayer requests that we put in our prayer box back here, we have our chaplains pray, over those requests, and then we take them and we send them to Silent Unity, where they're prayed for again for another 30 days at the people there at Silent Unity. What science is saying, what modern physics is saying, the truth that they are pointing to is the same truth that we are pointing to in unity here. And that is that we are all connected. There is a connection between each and every one of us, and what we do, each and every one of us, what we do makes a difference in the world. It makes a difference. So my challenge to you is for you to make your dreams big. Open yourselves to the movement of Spirit, to the guidance of Spirit, who has something for each and every one of you to do. We're not all called to be ministers in this fashion, but I think we're all called to be ministers in some way. We minister to each other. We come together as a community, and we're here to support each other. And we're grateful for each and every one of you. We're grateful for you being here. And we support each other in prayer, in fellowship. That's why we come together, to support each other in this spiritual growth. And my belief is that, the purpose of a rose is to grow strong and to be able to bloom. Okay, that's the purpose of a rose, to grow strong and to bloom, to flower. I believe that each and every one of us, our purpose is to grow and escape that illusion that we are separate and start living from the awareness, not just believing that there's one power and one presence, but living from that one power and that one presence. Living as that one power and one presence. Knowing that because we are that one power and one presence, and that one power and one presence is in each and every one of us, because of that, again, we have no limits. Okay? We have a connection to everything we need through that Spirit that dwells within each and every one of us. So that is our challenge, is just to remember that. Just remember that, our oneness with each other, our oneness with Spirit. Henri Nouwen is one of my favorite authors, and he's someone, or Henry Nouwen, he's a Dutch Catholic priest. And he was, I was reading one of his books, Reaching Out, which was actually one of the books that I was required to read in seminary. And he was talking about a Catholic priest, a friend of his, that decided that he was going to cancel all of his subscription to New York Times, because he found all of this information about the world out there and all the political shenanigans and all the wars and everything. He just found it too much for him. So he said it was interfering with his prayer life and with his peace of mind. And so he decided to cancel it. And so I've been, I guess you've been looking at the news too, and a lot of the stuff out there is not very happy. I mean, we've got so much going on in the Middle East right now, and our political system has become more a reality show than some things. I mean, it's really a circus in some ways. And well, frankly, it's disturbing, okay, the way it is out there. But we have to remember that God is in charge, and that God, our Spirit, works within each and every one of us, and we have a part to play. This is what Nouwen said. He said about his priest friend. He said it was a sad story. He felt that his friend's story was a sad story because it suggests that only by denying the world can you live in it. that only by surrounding yourself by an artificial, self-induced quietude can you live a spiritual life. A real spiritual life does exactly the opposite, he says. It makes us so alert and so aware of the world around us that all that is and happens becomes part of our contemplation and our meditation and invites us to a free and fearless response. I want to read that over. A real spiritual life does exactly the opposite. It makes us so alert and aware of the world around us that all that is and happens becomes part of our contemplation and meditation and invites us to a free and fearless response. It wakens us up to what is. And one of my other favorite quotes is by another Catholic priest, Anthony de Mello, who said, he described enlightenment as the complete and total acceptance of the inevitable. That's how he described enlightenment. Complete and total acceptance of the inevitable. We have to face what comes to us. And it's our response to that. It's our response to it that makes all the difference. We can ignore it. We can say it's not happening. We can hide our heads in the sand. But each and every moment we are being given an opportunity to respond. And that is part of our job as spiritual beings, is to respond. So this is my challenge for you, is that you go forth this week, open yourselves to the movement of Spirit, and ask Spirit, what is it that Spirit is having you to do? What dream is within your mind right now that is really just simmering there and you feel it? And it is Spirit talking to you, speaking to you, asking you to be involved, asking you to bring our fifth principle into effect, which is knowing these principles is not enough. We have to live them. And we live them by doing them. We live them by making them active and at work in each and every one of our lives. So God bless you. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. And it was a joy and my pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you. I invite you to become comfortable in your seat. Let go of any thoughts that you might have regarding what needs to be done later on or what has been going on earlier today. Just bring yourself to this time, this place. And we realize right now that we are each and every one of us a seed, a God seed. That spark of divinity is within each and every one of us, and it is awaiting our nurturing. It is awaiting our allowing it to take root in us. We do not have a personal life. Our life is truly God's life. God expressing in and as and through you. We are not separate. We do not have a life over here and God has a life over there. Our life is God's life. And God wishes, God desires to express itself through you, as you. God knows exactly what the world needs. God knows and wants a world of wonder and beauty. And you are the seed that if we just allow, will grow into that beauty, will grow into that wonder. So search your heart right now. Just go deeply into your heart and listen. Listen to Spirit that's always there, that always has words for you if you just but listen. And ask Spirit, what would you have me do? What is it that you want me to do right now? What is it that you want me to do this week? What are your plans for me? My friend, Spirit wants to tell you its plans for you because they're beautiful plans. They are plans that will not only bring your dreams into fruition, and not only bring joy into your life, but will also bring joy into others' lives because we're connected. Because our life is our life. It's not my life, it's our life. Hold on to that truth that we're all here together. We're all here to make this world a better place, and we each and every one have our own job to do. We have our own purpose that's unique for each and every one of us. So throughout this week and for right now, let's just hold that in our hearts and our minds, being open to the wisdom that God has for us, for the guidance that God has for us, the joy and the peace. So let us just, at this time, let us go into the silence for just a bit and listen. So we bring our attention back to the space, to this time. And we say, thank you, Holy Spirit, for your words of wisdom, for your words of guidance, that we will remain throughout this week open to your guidance and open to your wisdom, so that we know each and every step of this journey that we are taking, we know that you are guiding us and leading us. And we know each and every step that we need to take, and we know exactly when we need to take it. So we say, thank you, Holy Spirit, for your guidance, for your wisdom, for your peace, and for your love. And help us as we go forth this week. Help us to be the light that each and every one of us are called to be. And so it is. Amen.